But people tuning in and out, just let them know if they can't listen all day. There's your website where they can get all kinds of information. A link from our page from WRJC.com and the main page at the school district's website. You're also going to be out and about tonight, spreading the word. You're going to be at the athletic booster thing and at the Legion tonight. And tomorrow you have something at Hatch Library at 6 o'clock to let people know. So if you're tuning out, if you're running into work, folks, or whatever you got to do, more information. There's plenty of information to get about this, but we're going to be talking about the rest of the morning show here. So what kind of questions have you been getting? What kind of people, when they're asking about Carrie, I'll ask.
Okay. We're all pointing at Christine here.
But Christine, you're right. So she drug in, so we're going to make you work right out of the gate.
Put me on the spot right away.
But
yeah.
I'm sure you're getting asked a lot of questions. Probably some of them are the same. So for those who are too afraid to ask or haven't had the chance yet,
we have been hearing some of the same questions around. One of the big questions that we've been asked is, why are you not closing Westside Elementary? It's such an old building. It needs so much work and such an investment to keep that building up to snuff. And the reason would be is that we surveyed our community, and there was a survey that went out by Schools Perceptions, and it was everybody in the district area had an opportunity to complete it. And the community overwhelmingly said that they weren't interested in adding on to Grayside Elementary, which is what we would need to do to support those students moving from Westside to Grayside.
Well, I live a block from Westside, so it's really close for my daughter.
So nice.
Purely selfish reason. We live a block from school. How easy.
Yeah, it is nice. And it is nice to have the separate campus and to keep our younger students, kind of in their own building and away from the larger population. And, those are all good things. But it is a very old building. And as a part of this referendum, we're asking our community to support putting a new roof on that building. And it's a sizable expense. And, you asked Murph what questions I've gotten, and that's one of them is, I thought you were thinking about closing Westside down. Why are you not?
Sure, that's a big one because there was so many about the survey and that you did and all the repairs it needed and stuff. And so you're listening to the public that told you. And so
we thought it was really important, if you're going to ask the community what they want and what they believe is important, that we should listen to what their desires are, especially when you're going and asking them for money.
Right.
Good for you.
So that's where that came from. So that would be the number one question, I believe, why, about the referendum.
Yeah, that would make sense. That would probably be my first question, too, if I had to think about it.
Another question that I've had is, what does one-to-one mean in computer technology? And, that's a harder one to explain if you're of my age group and the almost 50, because we didn't grow up with technology like what kids use, even the investments you've made in this studio are very technologically advanced, right?
Yeah, and I'm still learning it, yeah.
Right, or my phone. But
exactly.
Anyway.
Yeah, and our kids, our 3 and 4 year old kids could come in and figure it out in about 14 seconds.
Oh, yeah. It's just, I know, my daughter grabs my phone and she's like downloading games. I'm like, what are you doing? Hey, whoa. And she knows what she's doing.
But as Mauston School District, we want to be a choice. We want to be the place that people want to send their kids. And part of the one-to-one technology initiative is that we need to stay competitive with our environment and what's going on in the state and the nation as far as computer technology. And we feel that it's our responsibility to give kids access and show them the powers of that. And we've made a sizable investment in training our teaching staff on how to use this technology that we're older adults aren't familiar with. But also we've improved our infrastructure as far as the cable and things like that to bring in the lines.
All right. Now 92.1 FM. Hunterbowl time is 22 minutes till 9, and we're at 13 degrees, talking Mauston School Referendum, and we're going to check our Mid-Wisconsin weather and take a break and have so much more here from Now 92.1 FM. Mid-Wisconsin weather looking partly cloudy. Got some sunshine going on now and a high of 14. Northwest winds 10 to 15. Partly cloudy and a low of 6 below tonight, and winds northwest at 8 to 15. And on Thursday, tomorrow, high of 14 under clear skies, and winds out of the west at 5 to 10. Tomorrow night, skies mainly cloudy, overnight low 2, and a southwest wind at 5 to 10. Friday, cloudy, high of 33 and a low 20. Right now, we have 13 degrees here at Now 92.1 FM. Now 92.1 FM. Hooter Bowl time is 18 till 9. We have 14 degrees. Back with members from the Mauston School District. Dr. Christine Weymouth joining us this morning, along with Julie Lanke-Smallwood and Carrie Buss, and Murph, too, yeah.
Yeah, I'm hanging around too. I'm a speed bump this morning in here. But we're talking about the referendum and all the stuff the school's wants to do. You guys are doing a great job of being transparent, getting the word out, trying to answer all the questions, tough questions, and some not so tough. But you have answers, or you'll get people answers. Here's a tough one for you. How are you doing after last night?
Oh, you mean after the B game?
Yeah.
The ball game?
Darn it.
Yeah,
they had a great
boys.
season. They had a great season.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
They had a great
here's
season.
a parental perspective, right?
What's that?
Well, your heart. It's like, I look at those boys and I think, oh, my gosh. They played their hearts out.
All that work and darn it.
Well, they have so much to be proud of.
Anyway,
yeah.
so we'll get back to, we'll just segue off of that and talk about the sports is part of the sports facilities is part of the referendum and bleachers and other stuff.
Yeah.
So why is that necessary? Why is that included in
the referendum?
Well, I think every time I speak, I mention the fact that we've been working on this for about 18 months at least, and I have a superintendent friend who said to me, "Oh, Christine, I need to take my community to referendum next month." And I thought, "Whoa, how do you do that?" Because we have been entrenched in this discussion, this planning, this thinking for 18 months. And we started out looking at all the needs that we had in the buildings. And one of the needs, because it's a safety issue that we had, were our bleachers and our track out on the main football field area. And in our community survey that we offered up in October of 2014, just this year, we asked our community the question about how they felt about spending money on that, and this has been the tough one. We pretty much got a resounding nope, don't spend any money on that. And so we spent, administration and the board, and a few community members, quite a bit of time pondering on this one,
right.
and it was very difficult. And in the end, these are safety issues. I mean, if any of you have been on the bleachers, it's a safety issues, and having to do with, I'm not sure I'm using the correct words, but holes in the seats and the back drops up at the upper level of the bleachers, and the no railings, and there's no ramp, so they're not handicap accessible. They aren't up to code. They're grandfathered in because we built them during a time when they can be, but they are currently not up to code standards. So they look great. I remember even coming to the district thinking they look pretty good, but they're actually not safe. And so that's the thing about the bleachers.
They look good. They're shiny. They're cold, though. So
well, they are that, too.
They're
So we have padded bleachers put in?
Yeah, keep padded
Nice,
or
yeah.
something. Or no.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
It's tough. One thing I believe, and yeah, people they didn't want you to pay attention to this when you did the survey and everything. I think they're wrong.
And to be fair, the question in the survey was a much larger question. It had to do with irrigating fields out and behind the high school and improving the soccer fields, and doing quite a bit of work on that area just south of the back high school parking lot. We've toned it way back and strictly looked at safety liability issues.
Right. Well, Julie, from a business standpoint, we were talking before we went on the air. You can only Band-Aid so much for so long before something's got to give.
Yes, that is what we've been doing, and we have a maintenance budget, but the maintenance budget is only about $75,000 a year. And when you think of the district and all of the property we have and the 5 buildings, $75,000 doesn't go very far. And so we are not able to do these large projects, and that's why we are looking at this referendum at this time.
To be fair, also, these on the referendum, there's a list of the things, if you will, the repairs that need to be made, and those will actually be built into the question when the voters actually vote. They won't be vertically listed. Sometimes people ask me this, it's how will it look in the question? It'll actually be horizontally listed because of the way that referendum questions have to be written, but those will all be in there. And those are the items that we've penciled down to doing. The thing that that I wanted to mention is, and I'll see I've lost my train of thought on that, but the track and the football field have to do with providing other opportunities then. Our soccer kids would then be able to play on the field. So we're talking about a figure of about $70,000 to flatten the football field, do a little irrigation there so that, in fact, kids can play soccer there. Because where our kids currently play soccer is a field with ruts and holes and that piece. So that's a safety issue for us as well.
And probably when you look at the track, we talked about redoing the track and then not doing the football field. It's like at home if you do some type of renovation, but you leave a part to do later. As long as we're doing that, we should do it now because it would be hard to take the equipment over the track field once it's done.
Right.
Yeah, it's just so much more efficient to do it all at once instead of go back and.
I remember what I was going to say, Murph.
All right.
And it was, in fact, the Board of Education, recognizes that these maintenance projects cost money and that they need to happen. We have a major maintenance project at our Olson Middle School. It's basically our heating system and the ventilation system that, in fact, we will be repairing in this next school year to the tune of almost $1 million. And we're taking that out of a fund balance that we have. So what you'll actually see on the question are some things that we've deemed are really important, but we have other needs. And this is also a large need that we know we need to repair. That's according to Rick Noe, and I think he's right about this, a 50-year-old, I think it was built with the original.
It is.
When it was the original high school, so.
That's
Wow.
lived a good life.
Yeah, it's lived a good life.
So, how long is it going to take us to vote when we go? How many questions?
Okay. Yeah, we have 3 questions, and I'm glad you asked that because we get asked this. Can we vote on all 3? And you can. All 3 questions can be voted on separately.
Okay.
Yeah. And as I said, they will be in the order that we've been talking about them. The first question having to do with the purchasing of general obligation bonds and a loan to the district for $2.5 million. And the items that we're repairing will be listed in the question, as I said, horizontally. And the second question, in this order, they will appear, will be to exceed the revenue limit by $300,000 a year. And basically that question is also just to maintain the current programs and services that the district currently offers. We've had to make reductions across the board the past 10 years that any of us can even recall. And this is about an average of what we're reducing, it seems, every year.
Yeah, that's one. It seems like you're constantly reducing things, cutting things.
Yeah.
That's got to stop somewhere. You got to reinvest and build something back up, or what's going to be left.
Yeah. Well, exactly. We're kind of down to when approximately 85, Julie, is it % of our budget is in staffing and insurances. There's staff end up being cut, support staff, kitchen staff, teachers, whatever administration, whatever it might be. The third question is technology, is the increasing the revenue limit of $225,000 a year for the purchase of computers and professional development, improving our technology infrastructure and staff development. So.
All right, I'm going to look back here, but all the information, you guys have some handouts with you that people can't see on the radio, but that's info's on the website.
It is
Right.
on the website, but we also have a mail drop coming.
Okay.
So they'll, in the first and second weeks of March, all of our registered voters should be receiving mail in their mailboxes of the same information that the 3 of us are looking at right here.
Okay. And there's
it's going out Friday.
All right. But the interesting thing is you got this graph on there, and it tells you you're talking $75,000 for maintenance. That sounds huge.
Right.
That's a big number. $1 million for heating system. That's
Yeah.
right?
You can't
So we're
comprehend
talking about those numbers, but we're also talking about the tax impact to a property owner.
And that's the graph I'm looking upside down. But that's the one that's interesting, and
It
people are
is.
going to get that in the mail, and they can
Yep.
find it on the website where it shows house value. This is what your property tax.
Right.
This is the impact.
Right.
And $16. So what we can numbers we can understand. And
Well, and it's, yeah, I mean, you don't have to be a math major to understand this. They've got it laid out really well so that people
Yep.
can figure it out. The one of the interesting things is for the biggest question, the $2.5 million, that would be an $8 per 100,000 impact on your taxes. $8 per $100,000 valued house on your taxes. The other questions cost us a little bit more, but it has to do with the general obligation bonds, and that we have a couple of banks in town that are hopefully going to finance those bonds.
I think that graph is just the most helpful thing to see what it really means. What,
Well, yeah, because everyone wants to know what's it going to cost me.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's you guys are in a tough position, and you're doing a great job of getting out and letting people know about it. Again, let's remind them, tomorrow night you're going to be at Hatch Public Library at 6 o'clock, fielding questions, talking to whoever.
Right. Tonight, I will be at the Legion along with Jim Dillon and Mark Dahlke, talking to anybody that wants to come out to the Legion. And others will be at the Athletic Booster Meeting this evening at 7 p.m. in the Commons at the high school. So lots of opportunities. We're trying to
Yeah,
really
nobody
get
can
out.
accuse you guys of hiding. And
We're trying. We're really trying.
Getting the word out for you.
They might be sick of us by April 7th, but they'll know who we are.
And we'll know what we're looking at. I mean, I think that's the strongest thing is when we go to vote, we'll be able to look at the questions and understand what we are looking at. And I think you guys are really taking the time to make that happen.
Well, it's really important to this district and to the survival of the district in the long term.
go ahead and reset.
Okay, we're at 6 minutes till. That's now 92 on FM Hooterville time. 6 minutes till, and it's 13 degrees. And I'm just, Julian, you and I were talking about how timely our visit this morning is, because we just had Tony Evers in the news talking about 230 referendum statewide since 2010.
Yes.
And we haven't done anything since, what was it, 2000, the last one?
2000.
So that's a long time ago.
So you know I was listening to you this morning. And I thought that was interesting, but we have not gone to referendum since 2000. And also on question 2 and 3, we do have a sunset on that. It would only be for 5 years, so it would not be forever. It is non-recurring. It is not a recurring referendum, so that taxpayers know that after 5 years that would not be there, and then we will reevaluate to see if we need to go to another referendum.
Okay, so one step at a time.
Right.
All right.
That's pretty interesting. So
Yeah.
it's just a 5 year. It's not a lifelong commitment. It's just, and if it's working, then you come back in 5 years or something. I got a couple of tough questions. Not meaning to put you on the spot, but it's interesting, and maybe somebody else is interested, or maybe they're just tuning me out. But anyway, what's a question that you're surprised you haven't gotten? Is there one? Can you think of some topic that is just, why aren't people asking about this? Or you're getting a little bit of every question around the board, and people are just touching. But like the West Side was the big one, how we started it off. Is there one that comes to mind?
Not right to mind, in my mind anyway. I think that people are very passionate about school in our area and education in general, and are proud of the buildings and of the product that we produce. And I really have good feelings that our community is going to support this referendum and understands the significance long term.
I believe the communities identify with. I'd like to say I wish they identified with their radio station, but they mostly identify with the high school, with the school district.
And I
school
think that
district.
happens. I think that
you know.
happens in small towns,
Yeah,
and
it
that's
is.
what we are. That's why we all chose to live here.
Yeah, the city, redid all the street signs to
match the school colors.
It's people name their business Golden Eagle and stuff to be part of the community, to identify with. So
To brand with
and
the schools.
and it is that freaking high school is gorgeous. It's
It is.
fantastic.
It is.
Well, it means, if any of you went to the basketball game last night, that to me was to see even the littlest of our kids wearing Mauston gear, and people who you maybe don't see every day at a basketball game because their children don't play or aren't affiliated with the high school, were present last night. And I mean, there's a huge amount of community pride and it was, it goes beyond just the boys playing well and doing well on the floor. I think, and the more, I always say to groups, the more kids we have in our school district, the more money we have, and then the less we have to come back to voters to ask for more money. And we take this job very seriously in the sense that we want our kids to start, in our school district when they're pre-K and stay with us all the way through till they're seniors.
So did she just say the more kids? Is she giving parents some work to do?
Maybe.
No, just bring us your children.
Yeah,
I think
we'll take your children.
one of the other reasons that we haven't heard much criticism is the transparency. We
Right.
started with the survey. We have crews going out to all the townships, county board meetings, every organization that we can think of, and we are trying to be as upfront with information as possible.
Are you hearing from other school districts with this?
Well, some of our surrounding school districts aren't immediately at the place that we're at, but tell me, and I've shared, our materials and our strategies with them, and they've said, we're going to be there next year, and so, much like Tony Evers' presentation yesterday to the governor, many school districts, we'll take the accountability, we'll take the responsibility, but I think everyone needs to understand why that is that we're looking at things. Funding basically hasn't kept pace with the cost of educating students and the cost of programming and the increases in we haven't even talked about the increases in utilities, et cetera, that happen in any given year while you're operating in an organization our size. So. That we just...
Well, and that being said,
Yeah.
Christine, we'll continue to manage the budget very fiscally responsibly, even if all three questions do pass. And even if the $300,000 operating revenue to exceed the revenue cap passes, there's no guarantee that we're not going to have to make some adjustments in our budget down the road. Just everybody's watching the governor and the proposed budget. We know there are things coming that...
This is a medium-range plan. I guess that's how we've referred to it. It doesn't answer our questions 15, 20 years down the line, but it does set us up. We will be out. Julie can talk about how we are out of debt at a certain period of time and then can reevaluate where we need to go.
Yes, with question one, if we would do the $8 for $100,000 worth of property, what that would do is get us out to 2021, which is only one extra year of debt. So right now, we would be out of debt in 2020 for building the high school, and if we would approve question one, we would be out of debt in one extra year, which is
Isn't that amazing?
2021.
Yeah.
So for the first 4 years, we'll just be paying interest, and then when the high school debt falls off in 2020, we would replace that with the new debt, and then the following year, the new debt would be paid off. So in 2021, we could be out of debt even with this referendum.
Sweet. All right. Very nice. All right. Now, where are you guys going to be tonight? Or tomorrow? What's the schedule?
I'm going to be at the American Legion tonight at 7 o'clock.
All right, Carrie Buss, you're going to be at the American Legion.
That's right. That was me.
Oh, I'll be with her.
Okay.
What's there? What's at the Legion?
The Legion has their monthly meeting, and we've got Mr. Dillon, Mr. Dalkey, myself, and Dr. Weymouth going to talk referendum with them. We're excited.
All right. Well, yeah, continue.
Oh, and then also tonight at 7 o'clock in the high school commons, there is the athletic boosters meeting, and we have a group of school staff that are going there to speak to the referendum questions. And then tomorrow night, want to know about tomorrow night? Tomorrow night at Hatch Public Library from 6 to 7, there'll be another group of folks out hoping for some citizens to come out to hear about the referendum.
All right. Well, Christine Weymouth, Carrie Buss, and Julie Lanke-Smallwood, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. And come again.
Thank you.
We will.
All right. Sounds good. Now 92 on FM. We are at 9:01.